I am Patti Hogan, and I am joined today by Sunset Ridge Country Club's very own amazing professional, Peter Berka. We are so excited to be here in Chicago this weekend, not just because I think the Cubs won the other night, Peter.
Yeah, they just barely.
But we are really excited besides that because we get to share with you the APTA's latest initiative to grow the game, and it's a new self-evaluation rating tool that we are going to launch this weekend. And Peter and I have gone back for about 15, 20 years together. We are PPTA professionals, and we are part of the teaching organization, which is the standard for teaching, and there's different levels for pros. And we came up with a system here, taking your system that you had developed for the Chicago League, and taking it up a notch so that we had a way to evaluate across the country what people's actual playing level was. So, you know, you have men who play on an A team, I have men who play on an A team. They might not be the same level. So we had to come up with a way that we could standardize our effort. So, Peter, can you tell us about our process?
Yeah, I mean, it's we took it, you know, the main thing we had to differentiate was between the levels. You know, we knew the prevailing theme would be consistency, but then we had to kind of take out what would be the things that would differentiate these players. And a lot of times it would be not just being consistent at the screens or consistent with your drive, but, you know, then we had to incorporate, you know, grip and spin and speed and other variables in there. And so it was, I mean, you and I worked a lot on it together, and there were other people involved too, but it was really just to find out what those different variables would be. And so, yeah, we came up, I think, with a very accurate system.
And to your credit, the system you had put in place, you had 11 categories, and so we went into far greater depth for each category, and then put a value associated with it, from serve, return, first volley, screenplay, tactics, the mental approach, fitness level, and everything that anybody shared with us, we put in there.
Right.
And our third person who really played a key role in this was Dave Broderick, the pro at Short Hills Club. And we got a ton of input also from Marina Ohlmuller out here, because it was important for us to go around the country. And any pros who wanted to give us input on how they thought, you know, people's level of play was measured, we took that input.
Right.
So then what do we do next, Peter?
So, well, the thing is, then it's a matter of taking this and implementing this, and having people go online and see what the value is associated with each. And so it's, you know.
So they don't really know the value associated. I don't think we knew that. We know that.
Right, the value of each
skill, because they may say, well, my return to serve is dominant.
Correct. But I think you're right, the values can be different anywhere. I mean, you might be able to say, hey, I can just lob all day and I can screen all day, and that's going to be good enough, because my defense is going to overcome anything they do, because maybe they're impatient, which is another variable. And so you're right, the values are different, but at the beginner level, you could say, hey, all you need is a drive. If you can drive the ball, guess what? You're going to be successful at a beginner level.
And patience is no part of beginner paddle, because the points don't go on long enough.
Exactly. You completely throw out that variable.
And so when you just start out in this game, our lowest rating is 1.5, and that's for a brand new paddle player who has no rackets background.
Right.
And then we go on up. A 2.0 would be a new paddle player who has rackets background. Because if you have someone from tennis or squash or racquetball, they've got the hand-eye, they've got some of the timing in place already.
Right.
Then, what do we have at the very top of our system, Peter?
And then we've got the tournament player. I mean, 6'5" and above is, you know, the tournament player, and there's you know, those are the players playing in the APTA tournaments and winning those tournaments or having good results. And so it's and there's, you know, even variables in there. Obviously, like the patience one now definitely comes into game, you know, into the fold. And so, you know, it's all these little things. I think, and spin becomes a big thing, you know, and versus, you know, who's using spin, even guys against the gals, you know, who's using more spin than others, and just all these little things at the top level at 6'5" and 7'0" become apparent.
Right, and spin might not be relevant at a 4.0 level.
Exactly, yeah.
Because people may serve with an Eastern forehand grip,
Right.
versus a continental.
Right.
They may hit returns of serves with an eastern forehand grip versus semi-western or
Right.
western.
Right.
And all of these things are things that, the reason you would always go to a PPTA certified pro is that they're going to help you advance through your level of play. And if you want to improve and you go to a certified pro, that's what they're going to be able to do. They know the process it takes and where you layer the information for
Right.
constant improvement.
I think the biggest thing too of this tool is you go to your pro and you find out and you say, okay, what is it that I need to work on to get to the next level? They should be able to give you that analysis and say,
Right.
what's my rating, and then what are they doing at the next level that I'm not doing? And
Right,
that's what
and
we're
a
defining.
club member maybe asks you that question.
Yeah.
What do I need to do to improve?
Right.
And you may say, you might have to like pass in the buffet aisle.
Right.
All you can eat, sit down, Sunday
Right.
meals.
Right. I usually leave.
But you can't say that.
Yeah, I can't say that. I leave that out. Yeah.
But there's a value to the fitness part of
There-
this
there
that
is.
would come into play. And the fitness doesn't come into play when the points go over the net under 5 times.
Right. And well, court coverage, it's like it's only a problem when it becomes a problem. You know, if someone's all of a sudden drop shotting you on everything, well, now your speed is an issue because you can't extend the rally. And so it's so you're right. There's all these little things, but I think the thing I like is using this to lean on your pro, ask your pro, what is it the things I need to do to get to the next level, because it's clearly defined.
Well, and you don't even have to ask your pro because
True. You don't.
Because the great thing about what the APTA has put together with the PPTA is not only do you go through an 11-page questionnaire, it takes 2 minutes, Peter. Who
2
doesn't
minutes.
have 2 minutes to improve?
Exactly. Answer a bunch of questions.
You answer 11 questions with honesty,
Yep.
and some
key part.
will say, do you reach the quarters, semis, or finals of APTA Grand Prix events or national tournaments? You either do or you don't.
Right.
So there's really no fuzzy areas in it.
Exactly. Yep.
And so then what happens is you would, it takes you a minute and a half to get it, and it takes you 5 seconds to get a response with your official APTA rating.
And I think it's important. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. And when you get your rating, you can simply send your email into the APTA, and then you will get a page-long piece of a document put together that describes everybody who is your similar level across the country. Let's say you're a 4.0. We know there are so many great skills that 4.0 players have. What is it that they have? Because if I think I'm a 4.0, but you know I'm a 3.5, and it says, oh, can they do this? Can they back up and hit a neutral ball deep with consistency? Can you, at another level, can you hit the side back screen consistently in the ad court corner?
Right.
How do you open up a court? How do you break down the baseline team if you can't do those skills?
Right.
So it's very specific as you go up in your rating
Absolutely.
what your abilities are. And then not only do we take you through that, but you'll get tips to advance, the keys to advance. So the keys will simply say, positioning or whatever it is that's very typical within that player rating. And of course, if you need to change your grip, you need to go to a PPTA certified pro.
Absolutely.
You can learn the tactics, and you watch live streaming. What a great opportunity we have in the sport. Another initiative from the APTA for the last couple of years. And we've got ENET Live covering this thing. These guys are pros. They're the best in the game, and they do a great job. And you listen to the commentating, and you can learn. I listen to the commentating, and I learn from Jerry Vian, talking to her during live streaming. I don't learn from Art Fishel, but I learn from Jerry Vian.
And I think the big thing too is that when you're going through the rating system is that that you are really looking at the specific details of what makes the different levels, because some people will say, oh yeah, I've heard that already from my pro. I already know that. I've been told that for years, and they're not identifying exactly what it is that they need to get better. And this says it. I mean, we put it down specifically.
So then I can go, Coach Berka.
Exactly.
This is what I got from the APTA. Is this right?
Right.
And you're going to read it and you're going to say,
so would this be helpful for your teams? Is this something that you...
I mean, I wish I wasn't semi-retired, because this would have made my life so much easier with women's teams. Yeah. Anytime you put out the lineups, and it's up to you as the pro to put out the lineups, you're going to make half your team happy and half your team is not going to be happy.
I don't put out the lineups, that's why.
Well, you're a wise man.
Yeah.
We're in the tri-state area, we're a little behind you. And so this is a tool where simply you say, your rating is a 3.5. The players playing above you are 4.0 and 4.5. And this is a system across the board, across the country, 20 level 1 teaching pros. The highest the organization has to answer has to offer collaborated on this effort.
Right.
So I don't think you're right this time, and you get to lean on the
Yes.
document with all the information.
Right, and well, I think anytime no one wants to be told from their pro, especially, hey, you're not, this is what you need to do, and or you're not doing this well enough. They feel like they are. Everyone's always better than they are, and it's just, including myself, we all think that, and I just think that you do need to talk to your pro about this. Use this, take this to your pro. It's clear, it's concise, and then at least it's defined. You're like, okay, I do need more screen work. Makes lessons easier, right? If you know what you need to do,
Right.
then you take your 30-minute private with your pro, and that's what you're going to work on.
I think it's far more purposeful for you as a pro
Mm-hmm.
when you have someone who shows up, they have a half-hour lesson. They say, Peter, this is the shot I need. I saw Chelsea Nuzlocke hit that shot.
Right.
And Mary Doden, how come she stands out there? Can you teach me her two-handed backhand?
Right.
And you may say, well, we'll start working on it. And I don't guarantee I can make you hit a two-handed backhand like Mary Doden. But we can figure out how to get you to be the best that you can possibly be.
Right.
Peter, the last question I have about all this thing is, all right, I get a 3.5 rating, and I'm working hard on my game. I'm playing league matches, I come to the clinic, I go to our team practices. How long do I have to be a 3.5?
Well, I think you're a 3.5, and you have that rating. You've got to go to your pro. You've got to get evaluated, and he's got to tell you that.
Well, I have my evaluation. Now I go to you because you're going to tell me what I have to do. You're going to teach me.
Right.
Now.
Well, I'm going to tell exactly. I'm going to show you the things that you have to get to the next level.
Right.
But it's not like it runs out necessarily. I mean, you're 3.5. You have
Right.
your 3.5, and you are taking that to your pro and saying this is what you got to work on, and then he's going to help you get to or she will help you get to the next level.
So I'm a 3.5, and I have 2 areas of deficit. I have more than that, but 2 that I'm thinking of mainly.
Okay.
In 1 week's time, I can go do the self-evaluation again. I could go up to a 4.0 in 1 week's time, just by working on 2 skills and getting better.
Right.
And then you really have to test it in competition. That's why the best players in the country
Yeah.
are your highest rated.
Exactly. And you get tested every time. And if you think you've made it to the 4 level, you'll know
Right,
short.
and that's how you're going to learn, because this tool is meant, Peter, to teach people the tactical and the mental parts of the game that are the little nuanced parts of it that maybe they don't quite get.
Exactly. And because there's so many variables here, which is fun.
So, Peter, I want to thank you so much for spending your summer talking on the
no
phone to me
problem.
and helping gather all this information from 20 such talented pros.
And I want to thank you for really kind of being the driving force here, though, because I mean I know you did a lot of work too, and thank you for all your time.
Well,
on this too.
I'm behind the APTA, and all their initiatives to grow the game are so important,
Yes,
and this is
I
our
agree.
passion,
Yep.
and we want to share our passion with everyone.
I agree. Thank you for having me.